The Canadian Pacific Railway Company was founded in 1881 in order to link Canada's most populated areas to the mostly unpopulated West. By the time Scottish-Canadian businessmen had figured out a viable way to build a transcontinental railway, they were already years behind schedule. Early construction talks were very controversial. In fact, so much so that in 1873 the Conservative government of John A. Macdonald was toppled in a scandal. He was re-elected in 1878 with the main focus of giving provinces what they were promised, a transcontinental railroad. The Canadian Pacific Railway Company was more than just a railroad company. It also dealt with land settlement and sales as early as September 1881. In 1883, the railway had passed through the dry farmlands of Brooks. At the time, settlers were coming into the Brooks area far too slowly to make the railway a profitable venture. It became clear to the CPR officials that if they wanted people to immigrate to the land between the Red Deer River and the Bow, they were going to have to irrigate it. The CPR hired engineers to study the Bow from its source to the CPR land, and a plan was figured out. The eastern section was formed by the CPR company in 1909 and began its construction on the Bazzano Dam. Another big project, the Brooks Aqueduct, employed many ditch riders and watermasters. A nice row of houses were built for the personnel and were some of the first in the area with indoor plumbing. In 1914, the Brooks Aqueduct had finished and the water began flowing the following September. The CPR had lost quite a chunk of change due to its irrigation project. The next logical step was to bring in more settlers to the west by selling the newly irrigated land. Ready-made farms were made to entice families from the states to come, and it ultimately succeeded, bringing in 23 families from Colorado. A large part of Tilley settlers came from Nebraska and southern Europe, but overall people from all over came to start a new life in the district. In the end, the Canadian Pacific Railway Company played a pivotal role in bringing settlers to the west. Today, the CPR still functions and covers 23,000 kilometers of track all across Canada, as well as parts of the United States. It serves major cities such as Vancouver, Edmonton, Montreal, Chicago, and even New York City.